Good afternoon, welcome to Market Wrap number 226. Stuart Williamson here at the helm. This week, interest rates forecast at 4% for the next 20 years. House prices rising at the fastest level for 2 years, and HS2 to be extended to Leeds. Pretty groundbreaking stuff. Just go through a couple of comments from last week's wrap, some lovely ones. Very nice gentleman. Oh my God, boring presentation, I'm sorry to say. Well, I'm sorry about that. I did think about perhaps doing it topless or something like that, but it is quite a boring topic, and it is going to be pretty technical. Wait till you hear about what I'm going to talk about today. That is very boring. Some of the ones we looked at, you're right. I think the market in the UK will flatline, but I don't believe the government's going to rinse landlords by very much more. There's not a lot they can do, really. This is focused largely at the international investor, who tend to have a better disposable income and therefore more ability to put down larger deposits, which ring fences them to a certain extent from the crises that the UK landlords are facing. Finally, government needs to build more council houses. Absolutely. It was a mistake for Margaret Thatcher to sell them all off, I believe. But I do believe the new building that we're talking about, 1.5 million properties, is all going to be about social housing and not so much about actually buy to live, buy to let, that sort of stuff. So that's good. So what are we going to cover first today? HS2. HS2 Light is to replace the scrapped line from Birmingham to Manchester Leeds. And the existing HS2 will end in Euston and not Royal Oak. In a rethink of Rishi Sunak's decision to scrap the whole thing, the government is reviewing it, and senior government figures are saying it makes more sense to actually go ahead with it, but on a reduced basis. And why is that? That's because apparently the way it's been left, when HS2 is finished, there'll be existing HS2 as it's planned, there'll be a 17% shortfall of supply in the northwest, because the trains that are going up there will then move on to local tracks which run these Pandolino trains, and they won't be able to carry as many people as they can at the moment. So that's actually a backward step, and it's going to cause a real logjam. And this is something that Louise Hay, the Transport Secretary, has been looking at, and she effectively confirmed that the agreed section of HS2 between London and Birmingham would end at Euston, and also that HS2 Light would go on. And the reason being, little option to push ahead because the existing plans has rail capacity falling by 17%. The solution is based on proposals put forward by Andy Burnham and Richard Parker, who are the mayors of Manchester and the East Midlands, Labour mayors, so they've got a good commonality, so that's really good for them. Last month they published a report led by Sir David Higgins, who is the former HS2 Limited chairman, who took evidence from all the different private sector organisations. It concluded that a new line between the Midlands and the North West was critical to enhance capacity of passengers and freight movement in the regions. It proposed a line between Lichfield, Staffordshire, High Lee, Cheshire, connecting the planned North West Northern Powerhouse Rail, and to create a new link from Manchester to Birmingham. According to the Times newspaper, a senior rail source said it's going to be a better outcome for the country. The new line would actually be cheaper and open earlier than HS2, so it'd be actually ready to go when HS2 does open and the capacity falls. So it'll actually be a much better way. Some great quotes. There's a realisation in government that what they've got at the moment is a complete dog's breakfast. Where does that come from? That's an interesting saying. What is a dog's breakfast? I know in my family, a dog's breakfast is their dehydrated meats. So I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. But basically the politics of this is definitely moving towards getting on with it. Regarding HS2 finishing at Euston, Hay told Times Radio it would never have made sense to end at Old Oak. We said before, Euston is planned to be part of the picture for HS2, and we're hoping to announce that at the budget. Okay, so there we go. It's expected the decision to build the London Central Station will be made at the budget. The 2-tunnel boring machines needed to complete the 4.5-mile leg from Old Oak Common to Euston will be delivered by the middle of this month. Transport is an essential part of the government's mission to rebuild Britain, not Birmingham, and grow our economy. We are committed to improving rail connectivity in the north, and so we'll work with those local leaders to do so. So that's very positive. Very well done. That'd be great. Great for house prices, great for the economy, very positive indeed. Secondly, house prices climb at fastest rate for almost 2 years. Rising incomes and mortgage rate cuts improve affordability for buyers. House prices are rising at the fastest rate for 2 years, the nationwide building society said. Property prices rose 3.2% in the year to September, with Northern Ireland seeing the biggest jump, fastest growth since November 2022. The building society said that rising incomes and mortgage rate cuts throughout August and September had improved affordability for buyers. Average house price is now £266,094, £2% lower than the all-time highs recorded in 2022. So again, that's positive sentiment. People are going out there into the marketplace and buying property. You know, it is a good time to be in it. Finally, interest rates, where are they going? The former Bank of England policymaker expects rates to settle at just above 4%, as deglobalization and the end of China's demographic boom put upward pressure on inflation, according to Charles Goodhart, a founding member of the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee. He said, with major central banks cutting rates, attention is shifting to the neutral level at which they will neither stimulate nor restrict growth. Andrew Bailey, the Bank of England governor, told the Kent Messenger newspaper last month he would not expect a return to the very low interest rates seen after the 2008 financial crisis, but could not say where they would settle with any great accuracy. However, Mr. Goodhart, a London School of Economics emeritus professor, considers the last 30 years of depressed inflation as an anomaly and the UK's real neutral rate to return to its historical average since 1800 at just above 2%, 2% inflation. Adding that the Bank of England's 2% inflation target would therefore put the Bank of England's nominal interest rate at just at 4%. I think it's realistic, he told Bloomberg in an interview. If I had to make a guess, over the next 20 years, that's where we'd be looking at. The neutral rate of interest is of increasing importance because it will determine when the Bank of England and others like the Fed and the ECB should stop easing policy. Some argue it's around the 3% mark. So that's where we're at really on that. You know, I don't think we will ever see those super low interest rates. And I think if people are waiting for that, then they're going to be waiting a long time. What does it mean for the UK investor? If we can get, and we can, 6% plus rental incomes in places that are going to benefit from HS2 Light, which is Manchester, Birmingham, those northern areas, Midlands areas, then they're the locations to buy if you're a head decision-making buy-to-let investor. Add on to that, house prices are going up at the moment. Where are they going up? Well, they're not going up on the south coast. They're not going up in major parts of the southwest. They're going up in those locations, in the Midlands and the north. And Savills, Jones Lang LaSalle are all saying they expect an increase of between 20 and 25% in house prices over the next 5 years, or flat prices in that location. HS2 is very positive. House prices going up very positive. What can we say about the overall look in the UK? It's quite a positive look. People are worrying about the budget coming up at the end of this month. I think for high net worths it will be a problem. I can't imagine it being a problem. And my experience has said over the last 30 years of doing this, whether you think I'm boring or not, and it's a boring presentation, we have got the experience at APW to tell you what has happened, and I've experienced it. You know, people say the end is nigh, and it's always nigh. I spoke to a gentleman this week who's, I think, a part of a family office, and he said the only bad decision in property is not making a decision to buy. And I think all of us can look back and say, if wish we'd bought more, or wish we hadn't sold, and I certainly have those feelings. So now is a good buying opportunity. We've got a variety of very good indicators out there. The UK market is turning, and hopefully the Labour government can help push that along with these infrastructural changes. Thank you very much for listening. Do comment, do tell me I'm boring. I've had lots of stuff like that. Someone wrote in once and asked if I was wearing lipstick. I had chapped lips. It's just bad. Thank you for taking the time. Do like, subscribe, and send it on to any of your colleagues or friends who might find it valuable. Cheerio.